And we're here.
We made it. Sorry, guys. We had a little technical issues today.
Yeah, so you can probably see us now, and just let us know if you can hear us. Put it in the comment section, let us know that you can hear us, and we'll hopefully everything's working okay.
Yeah, let's hope.
But
we are down one computer and everything's all sort of switched up, but let's get started with today's show. Welcome, everybody. Happy Sunday.
For sure. I'm just waiting in the comment section to see if anybody can hear us. Have you messaged anybody? Sound is good. Okay, we've got it going. Okay,
good.
So we can get going with things then. Okay, today's show. Maybe the YouTube live gods didn't want to play with us today because we're going to hit a touchy subject today. People have very strong opinions.
Everybody was thinking we're not letting this episode air. We're just shutting them down right now before they even open their mouths.
Yeah. So we are going to talk about what dress code looks like on a cruise ship, how we see it, what's appropriate, and I'm sure you get lots of feedback because, like I said.
Yes, please do share. Everybody has a different take on it, and that's why so many new cruisers are confused about it.
So we're going to talk about that today.
Well, again, welcome and thank you for joining us. We are Jill and Jerry, the Cruising Connects.
Yes, and this is our Sunday live. We're usually at 2 o'clock, but we're about, what are we running, about 10 minutes late today because of our technology problems.
Yeah.
It took a lot of troubleshooting to figure it out. Multiple computers. It was a bad wire.
Bad wire.
Yeah, if you've ever seen the vlog of us talking about last year in Vancouver, I said to Mrs. Canuck, I don't want to lose my good wires, and she doesn't know what a good wire is. So now you know what a bad wire is.
Yeah, that was a bad wire. There was a few moments of panic there for Mr. Canuck.
Woo, we got it working
and
now.
Luckily, it was him that was dealing with it, because if it was me, then we would never be live again.
Now I can relax and enjoy my drink. I'm having a Caesar today.
Oh, there you go.
No, you're just having.
Oh, I'm exciting.
Yeah, I can't even toast that. I don't want to be bad luck to toast that. I already had enough bad luck in the first 10 minutes of the show. Oh, so thanks for joining us today. Of course, it was on a weekend where we've been away since Friday.
Yes.
We just arrived back home, but an hour ago. I thought I had lots of time to get everything set up and ready for the live, and a bad wire took me down.
There you go. Best laid plans.
So yeah, we're going to talk about dress code today, what you should and shouldn't wear on a cruise ship. And I'm sure everybody has an opinion, ranging everything from, you should dress up and have a nice time and, show your best clothing on the nights you should. And some people say, I shouldn't have to wear anything I don't want to wear.
That's right. I'm on vacation. I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yep. So that's why we called this one, Are You a Cruise Snob or Slob? Of course, taking it to the extremes.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, it's going to be interesting. So I guess as a caveat, since I think opinions are so strong, usually our audience is very respectful. So I don't have any doubt that that'll be the case today.
That's right.
But just understand, there may be times where you're seeing the comments today and the conversation, and you'll be like, let's agree to disagree on this one.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're going to have a good talk, and we're going to try to keep it clean, PG.
I would hope so.
We'll do a couple little things real quick. I've shortened this part so we can get to the talking about the dress part. Okay, that's good for you. And just quick little update on our videos. This week we were in where? The Sea Day, and then we were in PEI. We did All Things Anne of Green Gables. That came out yesterday morning, I believe. So if you haven't seen that, check that one out and see if you can find the secret letter. That'll be the 4th secret letter. I'm hearing rumors that people are having a tough time with the letters. I don't think we did anything different this time. So, although in saying that, when we reviewed, we always go through and review all the videos after I do the editing. And we watched the whole thing, and I said, uh-oh, I didn't see the letter. I have to go back and see if I can find it. I must have cut it out in the editing. But I did find it when I watched it back. So it was there, but we missed it ourselves.
Maybe you didn't have it there long enough.
No, it was there long enough.
Okay,
long enough. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you wouldn't have known because you were doing something else in the scene. There's a hint.
That's the hint if you haven't found it yet.
And coming up this week, we are going to be in Nova Scotia twice in our vlogs. We're in Sydney, Nova Scotia, where we do an excursion. And we are then in Halifax, where we kind of do another excursion thanks to
Wanda and Paul,
our patrons there that took us on a trip around part of Nova Scotia. Yeah, so watch for that this week. And one quick trivia thing here I'll throw in. This is your favorite part of the show.
My favorite part.
Name the cruise line that had this in a 1981 ad about cruising. So you have to know the cruise line. Dine like royalty. Never have you seen a tableside flambe done so artfully. The service is impeccable. All 3 ships are British registry. What cruise line do you think that was in 1981? That was their advertisement for cruising. I'm going to go to the comment section, see if anyone else gets it.
Well, my first head goes to Cunard, but I'm thinking you're probably trying to trick me.
Trying to trick you.
So,
which cruise lines were around in 81?
Princess?
Carnival.
Oh, you want me to list all that was around?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think which ones I think it would be. I'm going to go with Princess.
Harlan says Cunard is his guess.
Mm.
I'm waiting to see if there's any other
Nobody else
guesses.
has given any guesses?
One of the hints there was at the very end there, 3 ships. So which
Yeah.
cruise line had 3 ships in 1981?
Yeah.
And they were British registered.
Right. You're not going to tell us? You're just going to sit here silent forever?
Oh, there's new comments. Let me get to the new comments. Here we go. I finally, they were off the screen because of my new problem with my monitor here.
Yeah.
We've got a couple Cunards. We have a Norwegian. We have a Holland America. We have 2 more Cunards. The right answer is not there, though. It was Princess.
I got one right for once. There you go.
Oh, Anna got it the last second.
Oh, there we go.
So there you go.
Yeah, that was my guess.
That was the
There you
trivia.
go.
Yeah. So, and we only got one question and comment of the week. We had lots of comments and questions and amazing comments. We just loved, again, there's the positivity we're getting on the vlogs is amazing. So, so it's hard to choose just one. But one quick question we had was when we showed on the map, wondered if there was any East Coast itineraries that have a stop in France. So,
And
France.
what she was talking.
Oh, okay.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. There are 2 little islands, I believe, Saint Pierre and Miquelon, that are on the south coast of Newfoundland, and they are technically, or not technically, I guess officially, they are French territories. And so that's what I think what the meaning is, and you can answer the rest.
Yeah, and so that is just off of the east coast of Newfoundland. And so there are some cruises that go there. They don't go there regularly, like on a regular schedule. So like Volendam, for instance, does go there this year, but maybe twice this year only. So they have specific itineraries where they will stop there. And it's not just Holland America that stops there. We've seen other cruise lines that do have a stop there. So you can go there via ship. It's just not like readily, easily to find that itinerary because they only do it a few times a season.
Easy peasy. So you can get there. We've looked at itineraries that do stop there because we were kind of curious ourselves.
And they're very popular because they're probably the most expensive run of the cruise for that season and often very little limited availability.
And that's all that extra stuff. So now we can dive in to dressing for a cruise. And you're just dying to let stuff out. So go.
Well, no, not really. I was just wanting to agree with what a lot of people were sharing about it. You know, my opinion on it obviously is that I enjoy dressing up and it makes the vacation feel a little extra special for me. So we do that. And does it bother me if other people are dressed up? Yes or no? And the answer is 99% of the time, no. Where I do have an issue, and this is what I want to give you this story because it still sticks out in my head. The very last Carnival cruise that we did was a formal night. I'm in a full-on dress. Jerry's in a suit. There was lots of other people dressed similar to us in the dining room. And then a man came in and sat at the table behind Jerry wearing a basketball cutoff short shirt with no sleeves and basketball shorts and had, you know, the lobster dinner behind us. And as I'm eating my dinner, I'm seeing a man's hairy armpits throughout my dinner. So yeah, was I upset about that? I was. I couldn't care less if he came and sat in a polo shirt there behind me, but I would think that, you know, the dining room staff would have asked him to go put on at least a t-shirt even would have been better than a cutoff tank top in the dining room. So that's where my head is at with it.
It's your head. And I guess that the way I kind of frame it, and you kind of said some similar things to me, was there's kind of a world where some things are appropriate and some things aren't. There's no hard, fast rules, right? Like you can definitely go sit anywhere and eat a meal anywhere and eat wherever you want. And in this day and age, the cruise ships just will let you do it. But there's also kind of an expectation of what other people are doing and what's an appropriate venue for things. Like you don't go, the way Mrs. Canuck said to me, you know, she said, if someone says, do you want to go McDonald's? I'm sitting around in my comfy clothes watching TV. I'll get up, put my shoes on and go to McDonald's. Like odds are that's what I could go to McDonald's. But if someone said, hey, we're going to the nicest steakhouse in town, and I'm sitting around in my comfy clothes, I'm probably going to go change and get something nice on.
Right.
And I think that's what we're talking about is that there is some expectation. If someone says that it's formal night in the dining room, then dress up if you want, dress up as much as you want, maybe just dress up a little bit more than you normally would. I think that's fine. And everybody says, collared shirt, something's clean, something that's not, wrinkled, look like you've been sleeping in it.
Right.
That type of thing. I think that's all good. There's different levels of what people want to wear.
The other thing that sort of bothers me when it comes to, I know I've got a few bothersome. It's coming out. Everybody says it doesn't bother me what other people wear. Here's another pet peeve of mine, and not so much because I take offense to it, but I feel bad for the women, is that I've seen more and more lately on cruises, and this happened on the Volendam. I noticed it a few times, that on the dressy nights, the ladies came in and they were dressed up rather nicely, whether it was dress pants and a blouse or a nice dress. And then their husband or partner, whoever, came in behind them or beside them, and they were wearing like a t-shirt
with a logo on it.
And just like something that you would wear, if you were going to McDonald's or on a pool deck. And so, I guess it made me appreciate my relationship and my spouse a lot, thinking that if Jerry sees me getting dressed up and putting a dress on, then he's not going to go out wearing shorts and a t-shirt beside me. He's going to put on some long pants and a collared shirt, or even a dressy polo shirt to go along with me, that sort of thing. Yeah. So I just feel like that would bother me if I was in that relationship for sure.
so those that are on the side of dressing up and expect others to dress up, I know some of the comments I've heard is like, okay, well, the people that don't want to dress up, why don't they just go to the buffet? We hear that all the time, but then the problem is the people that you say that to that go to the buffet, they're like, hold on, like I'm not allowed in the dining room. Like, can I wear what I want to wear? So there's that pushback. And I think that's that's where society is right now. Everybody's kind of pushing the boundaries of what was used to be acceptable versus what they say they should have the right to do.
When we were talking about this conversation in the car ride that Jerry says was a 3-hour conversation, which it wasn't. One thing I said was, well, Princess is revamping what they're doing with their 3 dining rooms, their main dining rooms that they have in their cruise ships, where they're having set dining, and people that dining that with reservations, and then walk-ins at 3 different restaurants. Why don't they have one where it's casual all the time? And then when there's formal nights, that you have to be dressed formal in 1 or 2 of the restaurants if you want to go to. But if you want to go and have the lobster and still be wearing your shorts and tank top, you can do that if they're going to allow you to do that in a different dining room. I don't know.
And the reality is some cruise lines are still enforcing it. Like Cunard, our understanding it on Cunard in another month and a bit is that dinner jackets are expected in the main dining room every night, that it's not an option.
It did say that when we researched it, but I am hearing that they're not enforcing these things anymore. So I don't know. Like we haven't done Cunard, so we can't really talk on that. But when we booked Cunard, we did the research and we read on it, and that was stated in the dress code. But we're hearing more and more that that's not really being enforced.
Yeah. And I guess the other issue is people sometimes want to know what to wear on a cruise ship because they honestly don't know. Either they haven't been on a cruise, they haven't been on a certain cruise line, aren't sure what the etiquette is.
Right.
And so where I feel bad sometimes is when they go out asking people for advice and they don't get advice that lines up with what their priorities are, what they're like, right? So people will say, what should I wear on this cruise line on formal night? And someone who doesn't like to dress up will jump into the conversation and say, hey, you don't have to wear anything you don't want, just casual. That's what I wear. And they're like, oh, good, we don't have to dress up. And then they'll talk to someone else and they'll say, to us saying, oh, what do you guys wear? Like, oh, suit, gown, like and a lot of people are dressed like that. And then they're very confused. Like, okay, which story is the real story? If you're somebody who likes to get dressed up, then you're never going to go wrong with getting dressed up. You're never going to be overdressed, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
They're going to be tuxes all the way down to collared shirts.
Yeah. I guess that's sort of been how I was raised. My mother and grandmother, and that it's always okay to be the more overdressed one instead of being the one to the party that's underdressed. So I guess that's how I live my life, really, I guess.
Yeah, and I've showed up to social functions with that rule in mind, not having a clue what to wear, and I was the most overdressed. But I didn't feel bad about it because I know that the opposite I'd feel really uncomfortable. I went somewhere where everybody's dressed up and I looked like, oh, I wasn't even put together, or I didn't belong there.
I think we've gone to like Christmas parties in the past where you've worn, a tie and a suit or a blazer or whatever, and been there, and the only man that had that on. So, just casually take off the tie and put it away and still have the nice dress shirt. So yeah, maybe that's sort of what you're talking about.
Yeah. So yeah. So I think it's okay to be a little overdressed. I think it's more uncomfortable. At least maybe it's a personal preference. Maybe some people don't care less what other people think when they look at them, but I'm a little more like, I want to kind of, when you're walking next to the person that wears all the best dresses in the world, I have to keep up is what I'm saying.
Well, I appreciate that you put an effort into dressing, alongside. I don't know. I think it would take away from my experience if you insisted that you were just going to wear a t-shirt to the dining room every night and I wanted to put a dress on.
Here's what I wish.
Okay.
Like some cruise lines, corporations have multiple cruise lines. So why not make it so that some of the lines, or one of the lines specifically, is like everything's dressed up. You got to have like a polo shirt on at the pool and you have to have a tux on in the dining room.
Sort of what Seabourn is.
Let people know that this is a formal cruise, and if that's your taste and that's the type of atmosphere you want, then that's the cruise for you. But if you want to have the basketball tank top in the dining room, then whatever cruise line that ends up being, that's the cruise that that if you're a formal person, you just don't go on that one. So I wish they would but now all the cruise lines seem to be blending together. The ones that used to be more formal becoming more lax.
Right.
And the ones that used to be a little bit formal, I guess they've just dropped off the map.
But I just think society in general, though, in the last 20 years that we've been cruising is less formal dress than they are nowadays, right? When I first started working the school board, almost every female teacher I worked with were wearing dresses and heels to school. By the time I retired, I would be wearing dresses, and I was known as the dress lady at work because very few teachers ever wear a dress. There'd be a few that would with me, but we were in the minority, whereas I was in the majority when I first started 25 years ago. Yeah. So I think that's just sort of society in general. And so that in tune has changed even cruise lines as attire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Even the workplace has become more casual, right?
That's what I'm trying to say.
It used to be, for sure. Where it used to be you go to an office job and everybody was wearing a suit and a tie, or at least a collared shirt and a long sleeve shirt. Now it's not the case. Maybe some nicer jeans and a short shirt with a collar. That'd be.
And when we first started cruising, we could go on Carnival cruise lines, which people are probably very underdressed nowadays in comparison. But when we first started cruising with them, there was a tuxedo place that you could rent tuxedos, a shop on every cruise ship, even their small ones, Carnival, where you could go and reserve a tux for your cruise. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're going to go and there's a few interesting comments and questions that can tie into this too. So we'll jump on those.
See what everybody's saying now after we've had our rant or say.
I think that Megan has a good comment. I'm going to jump on Megan's comment first here.
Okay.
And she says if a cruise line has a dress code, then she expects that they will enforce the dress code.
That is one of my sort of complaints. And I know we've had friends and family and fellow cruisers say to us, when there is a dress code in place and they've been in the dining room like we were in and they just, and they aren't enforcing it, it does sort of upset the people that put the effort into doing it, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is an interesting comment here, and let me get the whole comment out. On the Holland America's Rotterdam next week, Fjords hated it at first, but now love dressing up, right? And I kind of feel like I was kind of in that camp, I think. Like, I think early in the days in cruising, that was one of my resistance to cruising is like, I'm hearing that, you got to get dressed up. And I'm like, I don't want to be on vacation and be uncomfortable. But I kind of learned to endorse it and like it. Like, you kind of feel good about yourself and you got everything dressed up and you look decent. And, so I liked it because I didn't work in a job at the time where you got dressed up. So it was kind of a nice.
Yeah. And I think we felt it just sort of made it special. Like if we go out for dinner here in, our local community, you've never worn a suit to go out for dinner here. You know what I mean? But you will wear a suit to go out for dinner on a formal night on a cruise ship.
Well, look at it this way. If you're going to a wedding and there's an expectation that people are dressed up, you're going to dress up. And I kind of feel that's, I don't think you'd go to a wedding saying, hey, I can wear what I want. I'm wearing shorts and a tank top. I don't care that it's a wedding. I have my rights. Like, I don't think that should be the attitude anywhere. Is there, there's
again, a lot of people are going to weddings more casual than they ever would have 10, 20 years ago too. So I don't know. Yeah, you're I don't know. Maybe we're showing our age, guys. That's what I'm feeling.
Pam says that when she was a child, she got dressed up to go on a plane.
Yes, me too. Absolutely. My family's from Newfoundland, and my mom and my family, we would fly to Newfoundland pretty regularly. And I can remember my mom used to always have like a new outfit for me to fly home in, and vice versa, or one of my nicest outfits anyways. But you're right. Definitely. You never went on a cruise. I never went on on a flight wearing what clothes that I would have been playing in the backyard in or going to school in. It was always dressier outfit.
Mm-hmm. Teresa says, my party took the time and effort to dress up nice and appreciate when others do the same. So, and And there's something else. Cruising with Brian, Adventure with Brian, saying that if I can convince my wife, I would like to take my mess dress uniform from the Army as well.
Can you put that comment up and read it slower? I couldn't make out what you were saying.
If I can convince my wife, I would like to take my dress uniform for the Army, and I recently have retired by then. That's the comment.
Yeah, the dress uniform. Yeah,
I can paraphrase better.
We've seen some wonderful uniforms, dress uniforms of fellow people serving in the Army that have like Marine uniforms I can think of and that sort of thing. Yeah. They're beautiful, right? Yeah.
Annette says that her thoughts are not all will agree, but feels that the dining room should have a dress code and they need to be enforced completely. Dress code should be casual to formal as you wish, but definitely no basketball attire.
Yeah.
Or baseball hats. And Teresa is saying, been recently on a Holland America cruise for formal night, and a gentleman and his wife were refused entry to the dining room due to being in shorts and t-shirts.
Nice.
And they were not happy about it.
Yeah, I bet. I know. We've seen that before. Like, again, years ago, I'm talking around 10, 12 years ago, we saw a couple refuse to go into the dining room on a formal night because one was wearing shorts and one was wearing jeans. And they were asked very kindly, because we were right behind them in line. So we heard the conversation, and they said we'd ask that you'd go change into evening attire if you want to go to the dining room, or you can go to the buffet. That's what they were told. But again, I didn't think they were doing that anymore. So I'm kind of glad to hear they are on some cruise lines.
Yep. And I think that Gary brings up a point. He's talking that he hears from people the same thing that we hear from people, that the luggage restrictions is a problem. So you can't bring all your fancy clothes.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was a little bit of a concern, say post-COVID, when we started cruising and we were flying to Europe for the first time, and you're seeing these horrible pictures on the news of like hundreds of suitcases being lost in the airport. So that was my fear. But you know what I did? I packed 3 nice outfits in one carry-on suitcase, along with some casual ones, so that we would have at least a few nice outfits. So, for that cruise that we went to Europe, I packed 2 suits for Jerry because we were gone for 5 weeks. I had one in a carry-on suitcase just in case. Yeah. And a couple of nicer dresses for me. Yeah. So yeah, I get it though. Flying does make it more challenging. I will say that, because even just folding it and making it, it'd be so much nicer if you could just drive to a cruise port and walk on with your luggage in your hand, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And my view is I've just paid thousands of dollars for a cruise and a flight to go somewhere. I'm not going to try to save the $40 on the luggage fee so I can wear my casuals and don't have to wear a suit. I'm like, you know what? I can pay for the extra luggage if I need that to bring what I think is appropriate to wear.
Right.
So I'm just kind of in that camp that's very small charge in the bigger picture what it costs to go on a vacation.
Right.
And trust me, I usually make a lot of excuses for not dressing up.
Yes, you definitely did, guys.
Yeah, my I've been told that my red track pants and t-shirts aren't allowed to go with me.
Oh yeah. Do you ever have this? I don't know, ladies, maybe you can relate to this one outfit that your husband just loves, and it's the first thing you would love to burn. Years ago, I bought Jerry on a clearance rack a pair of $3 is what I paid for them. $3 red jogging shorts, and I thought, oh, they'd be great for when he's out cutting the grass in the backyard, doing work in the garage, just like around the yard maintenance stuff. They have turned into his most favorite item. And every time I turn around, he's trying to put them on. He loves them. I'm like, God, I wish I never spent that $3.
But I wouldn't wear them to the dining room.
No, you wouldn't. He's never left the property with them. I can promise you that.
Kylie says her husband's the same. He'll dress to match her. And thankful for that. Thankful the tiara and scepter don't fit in her luggage. And just trying to see the problem. Another comment on the problem is the size of the suitcase. Your nice level 8 won't be allowed on Luftwaffe.
Not sure why not.
I think it would. We've checked that it does fit the spec, so I'm not sure why. Maybe if you got the super big, I don't know.
Yeah, we don't have the giant size one. There is one bigger than what we have. Ours holds 50 pounds. If you pack really tightly, conservatively like us, I sometimes do, it can hold 55 or 60 if you're not careful. But it's generally the same size as most suitcases. Mm-hmm.
And Julie, another not dressing comment, but she says she found it interesting how well we like the Volendam. Been on several times and had a great time. Not liking or not drawn to the large ships like the Icon.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah, we really enjoyed this smaller ship, and so that's something we're gonna, maybe investigate and explore a little bit further. Is doing some of those more too.
Gail says that Kevin wears his kilt outfit
Yes, he
on
does.
formal nights.
He had it on when we were on the group cruise with them, and it was wonderful. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, here's an idea. Maybe the MDR needs to be renamed the formal dining room.
Mm-hmm.
Because if people kind of knew that that's where that type of stuff happened, they might not try to get in there with whatever they want to wear.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like it's
and we've cruised with quite a few friends and family that will do like someone quite a number of you mentioned before, where they'll wear on a formal night, a dress or a collared shirt and dress pants and whatever, and then just go back to their room before they go to the, comedian show in the evening and change into something a little more casual and more comfortable, that sort of thing. A lot of people will do that.
And Katie says, I think dressing appropriately shows respect for yourself and others as well.
Yeah, I would agree too. I feel the same way.
Yeah, that's kind of how we feel about it too. Although we know, like I said, a lot of other people say, what does that have to do with the value of me as a person? Just because what I wear doesn't identify who I am. But, when you're out in the public world, what, kind of what you look like kind of that matches. People have a perception of you.
Well, maybe.
That's good or bad.
I guess it could be true. But I think it also, maybe it helps you feel, I don't know. I feel like more, what's the word I'm looking for? More put together. I feel a little more confident, I guess is the word I'm looking at, than if I am just walking around in, my yoga pants and my tank top that I wear most days when I'm at home with just Bruno. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And Christine and Bill say that they follow the dress code for the appropriate level. We assume most people do also, but it sounds like maybe some don't. Mm-hmm. I would say for the majority do.
The majority do, for sure. Yes.
Yep. And I think now our experience for some reason is that a lot of people that we talk to and we ask about cruising or what people wear on cruises if we haven't been on them, they often, I don't know why, they seem to downplay it though. Mm. Like people always like, oh, you don't have to dress up for it. Like, maybe that's because that's how, like you said, society's gone that way, that they want anybody to feel any pressure of dressing up if they don't want to.
Right.
They also feel that people are asking for an honest opinion, so that they show up, they feel like they fit in with the appropriate dress for the appropriate venue.
Yeah, and we've been asked it quite a bit. Like, again, going back to when our daughter got married, we had quite a few friends and family that it was their first cruise ever, was to join us for our daughter's wedding. And so, as we were booking them for it, they'd be like, so Jill, do I have to have a tux, or do I have to have a suit, or what do I have to wear every night? And I'd be like, oh no, you don't have to wear a suit. You can just get away with a collared shirt. You'll be fine. And then they'll be like, but is Jerry wearing a suit? Because if Jerry's wearing a suit, then I want to wear one, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's often the case. People want to know not what I can get away with or what I don't have to wear, but they want to know what will the majority of people be wearing, because I want to be, dressed to that same level. Mm-hmm.
For sure. And Christine says, witness Mr. and Mrs. Canuck as they are on their lives. They're always nicely dressed.
Thank you. She's not. You don't have it up.
Oh, I don't have it up?
No.
There it is. I guess there it is.
Thank you.
And love you too. Thank you. So, but yeah, I think we're running out of questions, which is good. We've been on a little bit longer than usual, but we also started later than usual because we had their technology issues. But yeah, I guess, I don't know. If you want to dress up, dress up. If you don't want to dress up, then just know you might not fit in with some other people that dress up. I would say, like, if I'm giving an honest opinion, someone says, what's it like on the average cruise line on an average formal night?
Yeah.
Then I would say that majority of men are wearing at least a blazer and a collared shirt. A bunch more probably have a tie. A few more might not have the blazer, but they'll have a tie at least if they don't have a jacket. Mm-hmm. That's kind of your middle ground. Then you go up from there. You have the full-on suit and tie, and some have a vest. You go up from there, and some have a full-on bow tie. We've seen people that tuxedo. We've seen people that actually, out of New Orleans, we saw a family that had like full-on top hat and the whole. It was amazing.
White gloves.
We were so inspired by how dressed up they were out of New Orleans.
True.
And then from there, I think you fall off really quickly. Getting down to the people that don't follow the dress code and are not wearing a collared shirt and just shorts. I think there's very few. So if you're looking for the average honest answer.
Well, I think there are. I mean, we have friends and family that have gone on a 7, 14, 21-day cruise and not dressed up at all. But on formal nights, they haven't gone to the main dining room. They've decided, so maybe that's the case. There may be more people that don't dress up than what we see, but they're in a different dining venue, so we don't see them that night, right? Could be that.
You know what's fun is on formal night, go walking in the buffet after you have dinner in the dining room.
Yeah.
You can kind of see what everyone else is wearing in the buffet compared to what they wear in formal night, right?
Yeah.
And usually it's not what people are wearing in the dining room, because that's kind of why they're there sometimes.
Yeah,
but
go there because they don't want to.
But if you're wearing a suit, like, it's kind of a cool thing to do, because you can walk through the buffet and feel like you own the cruise line compared to everyone else that's there.
You're ridiculous. No.
But it's always fun, because we did that one night. We went up to the buffet, I think looking for our poutine, I think it was, with our suit on. That was formal night. We went looking for poutine. Yeah. Yeah, in the Volendam. So it's always interesting to go up to the buffet on your suit. And then there is that last piece before we end this all together, that a lot of people do dress up just for the actual dining event themselves, and then they kind of dress it down in the evening. Either they change, or they take off their tie, take off the jacket. Mrs. Kanako tell you that the ships can get really cold if you're wearing certain dresses, and then she wears my jacket. Yeah,
I've done that more than once. There's been a few times where I'm like, ooh, I'm cold and you're in a big full-on suit and I have like a tiny strap dress. Let me have your suit jacket while we watch this theater show.
It's usually a good trade, because usually I'm hot and she needs the jacket.
Yeah. Not so much these days, but.
So anyways, thank you for joining our odd live. We got things working. I think it all came through good in the end. And
yes, thanks for bearing with us.
And thanks for all the comments and discussion. It was a good discussion. Like I said, everybody kind of was all over the place. I agree. Like, you do you, but also know what the kind of norms are that you're going to run into on a cruise ship. And we're just trying to be honest what we see when we get on cruise ships and kind of what we do. That's kind of our piece of the world, how we see it.
That's right. Absolutely.
But yeah, as long as you have a great vacation and enjoy cruising, then I'm sure you'll find a way to make it work for you.
Right. And don't not go on a cruise because you don't own a suit. Like,
no.
You don't have to have a suit. Definitely, if you want to go on a cruise and you haven't gone on one and you don't own a suit, go. Don't let that hold you back.
Exactly. And if you're tight for luggage, pack the suit, but just put the Speedo in instead of the whole big swimsuit. That's a good way to save space.
Oh, there we go. We can have a whole other topic, bathing suit attire on a cruise ship. How little do you wear?
Let's end it there on the Speedo comment.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe and hit that like button. It helps us out tremendously. And join us next week, because next week this live is going to be trivia. So if you've hung on this long, you know that next week we're going to do a trivia. It's going to be like a day before Canada Day or the Canada Day weekend. Sign up, we'll do a Canada trivia or be Cruise Canada. But we did do a Canada trivia last year, so maybe we'll have to come up with a different theme. We'll see. There'll be a theme, but there'll be trivia next live, so be sure to join us for that. All right. Okay, so have a good week, everybody. Have a great week. See you next week. Bye.